this is what you can expect very soon, not very far from Mumbai. I don't know about you, but I have definitely started packing my bags. So I think it's time to start thinking very seriously about the Gurukulam and trying to reach out and support this Gurukulam in whichever way you can. Like I said, we will talk more about this tomorrow afternoon. But today is Gita Jayanti. It was today, about 3,500 years ago, that the Gita was revealed to Arjuna by Bhagwan Krishna. But is it relevant now? Why should I care if two people had a conversation so many thousand years ago? Well, the truth of the matter is, it was no ordinary dialogue. It was a dialogue that has changed the lives of thousands of people and given meaning and purpose to millions of people over the last few thousand years. It is a dialogue of Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. And what does that mean? Swamiji will throw some light on it. Swami Brahmavidananda will now talk to us in our first session on the Vedic Wisdom Festival on Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Vedic wisdom. Swami Brahmavidananda.
Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Krishna Purushottamaya Namaha. Yeah, the topic is a huge topic. For which, let us have a peep into the structure of the Veda. The first Veda is basically divided into two main sections. The Purva Bhaga and the Uttara Bhaga. People talk about Brahmanya, Aranyaka. Yeah, I'm just making even a broader classification. In this, the first portion, the Purva Bhaga, deals with human needs. What is there on the surface of every human being? You want a sense of security and you want to fulfill some desires. Artha and Kama. This is common for all human beings. Everyone needs one. Therefore, Artha Kama becomes very, very basic. Of course, everyone need not go to the Veda to fulfill Artha Kama. Okay. But the Veda gives you some means to enhance your worldly actions so that your Artha Kama pursuits can be even better. Better results can come out. But yes, Artha and Kama will have no meaning if there is no rule of law. So basic dharma has to be followed by everyone. Therefore, this basic dharma is also dealt with in the first portion. And remember, as Sanatanis, as people of this culture, we always kept a long-term view. Therefore, dharma took care not only of what you're doing in this life, but also life hereafter. All that is covered in Dharma Artha Kama. Then, is that enough for a human being? In spite of all your sense of security, your power, your wealth, your money, your fulfilling desires, the human heart still feels empty. There's still a sense of emptiness in the human being. He looks for fulfillment. we look for more than what these experiences can give. It is natural. Every human being has this urge, which is not always discerned or recognized. This urge for fulfillment, freedom from your sense of limitation as a human being, is called moksha. Free from your existential issues. What do you mean by existential issues? You can have friends and family, including 1,000 friends on Facebook, 1 million followers on Instagram, and still feel lonely, isolated. You can be right in the midst of your loved ones and still feel lonely because they don't understand you or what you want to do in a given situation. So you feel a disconnect. So what do you do in all these? How do you gain a freedom from this? F, freedom from your sense of purposelessness. What do you mean by purposelessness? Let us say, here is a person. True stories, therefore, names are not mentioned. He and his father set up a business, really doing well. And he was hoping that his son will take it forward. The son is not interested. A story similar to Bisleri. The daughter is not interested in taking that business forward. So what does the father feel? I built all this up for my children and they are not interested in taking it forward. What's the purpose? Sell it or make some money. Okay, but then what? What about my purpose? Or as a middle class person, you struggled and saved. You have 2 kids. You made 2 houses in Bombay. It's a big thing. 2 houses in Bombay. And the kids are gone abroad and they have no plans of coming back. What happened to all your struggle and making 2 houses? Gone. Do you really want to stay there and put a stop on your kids' progress by saying, no, I have a house for you in Bombay? So, purpose disappears. Isolation, loneliness happens. We are not happy and fulfilled. I am not saying for want of success, I am saying in spite of success. In spite of achieving dharma, artha, kama, you still not fulfilled. Once you recognize that, the mumukshu is born in you. You are seeking moksha. That is dealt with in the second half, in the last part of the Veda, called the Upanishads, the crowning glory of the Veda, otherwise known as Vedanta, the end portion of the Veda. It's a positional name and an important one at that. Because after you have understood the limitations of dharma, artha, kama, you come to moksha. You can continue your pursuits of dharma, artha, kama because you have to live your life. That's fine. But now you are someone who's seeking moksha as well. This is the subject matter of the Upanishads. And the Gita deals with the same subject matter. Subject matter is identical. Now the Upanishad, which is in a form of dialogues, each dialogue is short. Maximum, maybe 100 verses. Per dialogue, I'm saying, not per Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is twice the size of the Gita. But each dialogue will have about 100 verses. Or so, 100, 150. So they are short. Whereas Gita puts it on a much wider canvas. And Shankara, introducing the Gita, says there are two margas in the world, pravrti and nivrti. Very nicely put. Pravrti is dharmartha kama, nivrti is moksha. And what is maybe presented in the Upanishad just as one or two verses, like in the Isavasya Upanishad, the second verse, Tena Tiktena Bunjitaha, or Kurvanevehi Karmani, Jijivishet Shatagam Samaha. So, some couple of verses has been elaborated into 2 chapters in the Gita, minimum. What is that? How to convert your pravrti for dharmartha kama into being ready for moksha. The source is the Upanishad, but it is blown up on a much larger canvas. That is why we say at the end of each chapter that the Gita deals with both Brahma Vidya and Moksha and Yoga Shastra. Because yoga there is how to prepare your mind to gain this Brahma Vidya, knowledge of Brahman, which is the only thing that will free you from your sense of limitation. So that's what all Vedanta teachers have been teaching all their lives. It's a huge subject matter. But coming here in a nutshell, if you're going to look at it, some myths, many people, many speakers on the Gita, I can't call them teachers, many speakers on the Gita will talk about as though Gita is dealing with dharma. That unfortunately is a myth. The Gita tells you how to live your dharma, but it is not a dharma shastra. If it was a dharma shastra, we would be studying it along with Manusmriti, Parashara Smriti, which are all dharma shastras. But we study it along with the Upanishads. Because the subject matter is not really dharma. Subject matter is moksha. It deals with a little bit of dharma as well, true. But that's more as a background to highlight the need for moksha. Because dharma is common, whether you're going for artha kama or you're going for moksha. You cannot leave dharma. Dharma is a base. Therefore, the Gita deals with dharma only as a base. Why? Even if you're running a business, you need dharma. Without the rule of law, there's no way you can run a business. Ask Ukraine, where a lot of things have collapsed, whether they can run a business. In fact, all your money, prosperity, etc. is meaningless if your borders are not safe. That's part of dharma. Even running a business, you ask any successful businessman who have made it big, not small-term traders who have made it really big, they will tell you good ethics is good business. Therefore, dharma becomes a part of the game. Therefore, that much the Gita will deal with it. But the main topic in the Gita is Moksha Shastra, how to have freedom from your sense of limitation. And that's exactly what the Upanishads deal with. Both of them have the same subject matter, that is Brahmavidya, knowledge of Brahman. In the Gita, your life, how to live a life, is expanded much more. That is the beauty of the Gita. What is, as I said before, what is covered in a couple of verses in an Upanishad is spread over more than 100 verses in the Gita, much more rich. So that is the beauty of the Gita. Now, looking a little bit into the subject matter itself, what is the way to, or the means to be free from my sense of limitation? Because existential limitations we all have. In fact, what was given to us as a power has become a problem for us. I'm talking about your freedom to desire things. Your freedom to desire. Only human beings have that freedom. A cow cannot get up in the morning and have a desire and therefore choose, what do I feel like eating today? A cutlet or an omelette? Cow doesn't have that freedom. Human beings have that freedom. But that freedom to be able to desire, Ichha Shakti as it is called, has become a problem. We are victimized by our own desires. So much desires. My two hands are not enough to achieve all of them. And if I achieve one, more comes up. What do I do? So somebody said desire is the cause of all problems. Hey, desire was given to you as a power. What problems? It's a power that you are given. Why are you making it into a problem? Yeah. But it has become a problem for most of us. We have a desire, but or we have a desire which can't be fulfilled. Now what to do? Yeah. So in all these cases, we find that how do I live my life? Or how do I find that fulfillment that I'm seeking? So the Gita gives a twofold solution. The primary solution, of course, is to discover that you are not a limited human being, but you are that pure consciousness free from all limitations. This is the primary message of the Gita, but was that what Arjuna asked for? Because the problem starts by saying, I can't fight this war. How can I kill my own people? So it is because the initial presentation of the problem was Arjuna's problem of a war. People mistake it to be one of dharma. It starts with the problem of battle, definitely. There are some other myths also that Arjuna was suffering from anxiety, neurosis, etc. These are all said by people who are not very psychologically aware. You don't make a diagnosis like this on the basis of an hour's talk. Anxiety neurosis is diagnosed in a patient only if he's suffering from that for 6 months. Not one incident. Even if you had a panic attack, you will not diagnose it as anxiety neurosis on the basis of one episode. Arjuna had no problems as a warrior. His problem was, how will I kill my kith and kin? He started with that. He said, well, if I don't fight this battle, I don't get a kingdom. What will I do by getting a kingdom? He recognizes right there on the battlefield that his heart will be empty even if he gets a kingdom. Remember, he has seen the fullness of life. He has won and lost a kingdom. Okay. Yeah. He has won a kingdom, lost a kingdom. Women have fallen for him. He is fulfilled as a lover. Kama. Artha he's called Dhananjaya, one who can win over wealth on the strength of his arms. Been there, done that, he has seen all of it. Unparalleled as a warrior, the peak of achievement he has had. And he, in spite of all that, he says, heart is empty. Forget this kingdom, he says. This is Aryavarta, a small little kingdom. Oh, big subcontinent. Okay, big subcontinent. Okay, but Aryavarta. Okay. Compared to the whole earth, it's small. He says, forget this. Even if Indra is replaced and my father is replaced, and I am going to rule over the heavens and earth and everything, all the dimensions, my heart will still be empty because I perceive myself as a finite human being, isolated, lonely, purposeless. He recognizes the problem. The human problem is very well spelled out. What triggered off was that war. Yes, how do I kill my kith and kin? That's only a trigger point. Trigger point. Like 2 days back, I lost a cousin. True story. So everyone is running around, making funeral arrangements, this, that. He stays in Ernakulam, but he died in Palani. Young man, young for death, just about 17. A little older than me. What happened to his wife and kids? Everyone is running around. And one of the cousins, as the funeral is being done, already done, is thinking there. He had just retired. He was a consultant. He still had so many hopes for himself, for his kids. What has happened? Where is he gone? What is the purpose of his life here? After death, where did he go? And if you're going somewhere, is there something called death then? If you're thinking like that, then an issue, that's a contemporary issue, a day-to-day issue, is now triggering off your thinking into something much more fundamental. Much more fundamental. Of the very purpose of it. Same thing happened to Arjuna. The battle triggered in him a desire. It unveiled the hidden priority in every human heart, the need for moksha. Finally, everything that we do in life is only to get a sense of fulfillment. If that fulfillment is missing, what is the purpose? So it is this question that is addressed in the Gita. The question of, am I a finite being as I see myself, as I experience myself? Or am I what is revealed in the Upanishads and the Gita as a completely fulfilled being, suffering no limitations of a human being? Therefore, one of the most important questions in life, in the Gita, in the Upanishad, will be, who am I? What am I? That is the real question. Why does that become a question? Because none of us really know who we are, barring a few who study Vedanta seriously, barring a few of them. No one really knows who am I. Everyone knows I am, I exist. There's no doubt on that. Nobody asks you whether do you exist. They may ask you, are you happy? Are you okay? But nobody comes and asks you, do you exist? Unless in some academic philosophy paper, and say, how do you prove your own existence? Academic paper. A Vedanta teacher will never ask that. Why? Because self-evident. Everyone knows I am. But the question is, you're not sure who I am or what I am. That's why, supposing not online, offline, I announce a talk. And this self-knowledge, know who you are. A couple of hundred people will turn up. Why? I don't know them from Adam or Eve for that matter. I don't know any of them personally. But they come to hear me about who they are. Isn't it funny? Someone who doesn't even know your name is going to talk about who you are. That shows that we recognize that we really don't know ourselves. Even in psychology and corporate training and all, when we talk about discovering yourself, it's all with respect to your mind. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your priorities, etc. All that is with you as a functioning human being. What is the truth of that person? Unknown. That I is the subject matter for the Upanishads and the Gita, otherwise known as Brahmavidya. Why Brahmavidya? Because in the vision of the Upanishads, you are Brahman. What is that? I thought I was so and so. I said, you are Brahman. Now, what is Brahman? Simple. Sanskrit, the word reveals its meaning. It comes from Brihat. Brihat meaning big. Big is an adjective. Okay. An adjective is supposed to describe a noun. Therefore, an adjective limits the noun. The noun also limits the adjective. Supposing I say big cup, and I show you this, what will you tell me? Hey, this is not a big cup, this is a small cup. Then I'll show you a big mug. Ah, that is a big cup. Then I say big elephant. Does it have any relationship, the big elephant, to a big mug or a big bug? The bigness is limited by the noun that follows. Big bug, big cup, big elephant, a tusker 10 feet tall. Wow, that is something. Now we make a noun out of it. Big. Big means what? The big. Uncomparably big. Nothing to limit the bigness. Nothing to limit the bigness. Then it must go include everything and more. Exactly. Limitlessness itself is called Brahman. Therefore, you are limitless in the vision of the Gita and the Upanishads. Swami, I know I put on weight, but I have not become limitless, okay? I still have some limit. I still fit into my old pants, it's tight. Huh? I had to loosen it out of it, but I still fit in. What about that? That's not what we are talking about. You know I am, right? I am is known to you. Oh, I am. Therefore, obviously, if you exist and you are aware that you exist, I know that I am. I am and I know that I am. Naturally, you have to be an awareful being. Yeah, that is true. I'm an awareful being, not right. I mean, there are moments when I'm not very awareful, but basically, I'm an awareful being. Like right now, I'm awake. Hopefully, all my listeners are also awake. I ensure I'm awake by having a cup of tea before the session. I hope all of you are also awake and you're aware of what's happening. Last night you dreamt, you're aware you dreamt. Some dreams you remember, snatches of it, aware. You slept very well without dreams, that also you're aware. So you're an awareful being. That much is clear. That's clear. Now, this awareful person that you are is equated to Brahman. Limitless. But how can I be limitless? Simple. From the awareful being, negate all limitations. This is how the teaching works in the Gita. I am trying to present it in a few minutes. You know how the teaching works. That means what? What is limited? Your body is limited. Sense of I is not limited, isn't it? When you say I am the body, then you become limited. Therefore, there are many paradigms for it, prakriyas for it. One simple prakriya, what you are aware of is not you. I'm aware of my pen, I'm not my pen. I'm aware of my phone, I'm not the phone, even if I call it iPhone. It's my phone, not iPhone. Therefore, with you see the simple logic or any other paradigm, my body, not I body. My energy, not I energy. My mind, not I mind. My knowledge, not I knowledge. My ignorance, not I ignorance. All these are finite entities. Gone. Because you're Brahman, no? Therefore, you have to see yourself as free from all the finitude. Only then the teaching will work. Okay. So I'm not that finite guy. What is left behind? Awareful being. This is that awareful being is Brahman, is limitlessness. If it seems too good to be true, it is not because it's wrong, it is because you are hearing it new. This is the basic message, the essential message in the whole Gita, that you are limitless consciousness. That awareness, that awareful being is nothing but limitlessness, unconditioned by time or space or what you do or what you don't do, unconditioned by dharma, artha, kama, unconditioned by punya, papa, unconditioned by good and evil. This is you. This is the central message of the Gita. Right through second chapter, third chapter, right through to the 18th chapter, this message comes through. The same is said in every Upanishad. Whichever Upanishad you take, Isha Kena Kata Prashna, Aitreya, Taitreya, Mundaka, Mandukya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, major Upanishad. Then others, Shveta, Shvetra, others, etc. Amrita Bindu, Nada Bindu, all of them, if you take major, minor, central message is this. From various approaches, you will see that what is there is nothing but pure consciousness. You are that. That's the message in the Gita as well. Because it's only this teaching that can free you from your sense of limitation. Free from what you do or don't do. You're free from that. So it is only at the end of the teaching that Arjuna could say, let's ride, the battle awaits. The Gandiva which had slipped from my hand, I couldn't even hold on to it, leaps back into my hands now. Come on, let's ride. Ready to go. Because not only I am pure consciousness, therefore I don't kill. Bhishma I can't kill. Why? He is also nothing but the same consciousness. So is Drona and all of them. There is only, how many lives are there in the universe? Only one. That pure consciousness is what is there. Then what of all of this? Manifestations. Like one water, a million waves. One water, a million waves. One space, a million rooms. Including a small plot, okay? 3-acre land, our ashram. It's all for functioning, Baba. It's all for functioning. My house, 800 square feet. Big thing and more, 800 square feet. All space is yours. What's the problem? But it's all functioning. Okay, this is a different degree of reality altogether. So after knowing, you'll continue doing whatever you're doing. Or you can change if you feel like changing. You're free. That's why at the end of the teaching, Krishna told that. Yatha ichhasi tatha karo. Do whatever you want to do. You're free. Don't do. That's also fine. So now naturally there will be a question in people's mind. How do I live? Because this knowledge doesn't seem easy. It is neither easy nor difficult. It takes some learning, it takes some time. That's all. Really. You can't apply easy and difficult for learning. If I ask you to come with me, let us go to Gomukh. Some of you, oh my God, that's so difficult. 18 kilometers one way walking from Gangotri to Gomukh. Difficult, I call it. Some of you who may be trekkers will say that's just a walk. Yeah, for trekkers and for people like me, it's just a walk. That's not even a trek, it's considered a walk. Big deal. A trek would be, okay, go to Kuwari Khal, go to Everest Base Camp. That is a trek. A walk. So easy, difficult is respect to action. If I'm asking you, please know this as a pen. Can you say this is easy or difficult? Know this as a pen. If there is some defect in your eyes, you may have to correct it by placing glasses, etc. That's all. That's all. So knowledge is like that, neither easy nor difficult. But it takes some time. Yeah, it takes some time. I have to get a mind which is ready, like correcting my eyes. I have to get a mind which is ready to know. All that is necessary. So how do I live? How do I live? That also the Gita makes it very clear. Krishna says, Lokesmin dividhanishta. Two lifestyles. Pura prukta mayanakha. Right at the beginning of time, as Ishvara, I have spoken about it. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, jnana yoga. Sannyasana. Sankhya there stands for sannyasa. Because two lifestyles. Sannyasa and karma yoga. And then he goes on to add that sannyasa and yoga, pratak balaha vadanti, as different children talk about it. Natu panditaha, the wise don't talk about them as different. Why? Now you remember, you want moksha, you want this knowledge. You need this knowledge. Some of you have discerned it, some of you may have yet to discern it clearly. That's okay. So when you are seeking this knowledge, how do you learn? I want it here, I want it now. Okay? Chodo sab kuch. Leave everything, take sannyasa. Come. Learn. So sannyasa is pursuing this knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. It's beautiful. It's a fast track. You're going on the expressway, on the freeway, provided you are ready for it. That's Swami. I feel too insecure to do that. Where will my next meal come from? I don't know. I live on Bhiksha. So if the Lord gives me, that is that day I eat. If the Lord doesn't give, that day is Ekadashi. That's why if you notice, someone like me does not keep formal Ekadashi vratas because this was our life. The day you don't get Bhiksha, that day is Ekadashi. Fasting day. The day you get a Bhandara is feasting. You celebrate the Lord. So I'm too insecure to live like that. Okay, understandable. Then I still want someone to love and feel a sense of belonging, etc. Whole world is yours. Love the universe. I can't do that. I need someone personal. Okay. That means you have these needs along with the need for moksha. You have these needs. These are priorities in your life. That means what? Sannyasa is not yet meant for you. If you take sannyasa, you'll get into a mess. You are insecure. You feel insecure. Yeah, unless there is some cash kept at home, I am insecure. But you have an ATM card. What's the problem? You're not like me who don't have an ATM card. You have an ATM. No, but still, I feel secure only if some 50,000 is kept at home. Okay. When you live as a sadhu, you may be kankar. Don't believe me, there have been days when I didn't have 50 paise in my pocket. When I was in Rishikesh, not here in Bombay, of course, but That's insecurity I can't deal with. Okay. The need for love, etc. is still there. Okay, nothing wrong. It's human. Human. The need for achievement is still there. Human. Therefore, if you are not ready for a life of sannyasa, you take to a life of karma yoga, where you live by your priorities. What is important to you? You live by your priorities. What is important to you? Not by just desires. If you're living by just desires, then you lost the game before you started playing the game, because you can never fulfill all your desires. Look at your life up to now. You can never fulfill all your desires. Therefore, go behind the desire. The need behind the desire is what I call a priority. Identify your priorities. Like you said, they need to be loved. Security, sense of security. All this. Work to fulfill them with certain attitudes. Those attitudes are, the action is offered to the Lord, Ishvara Arpanam, and the result I get in term for my action is prasada from the Lord, because everything that comes happens not only by your effort, but because there is an infrastructure available. There's a whole universe available, which gives you a karma and karma phala. These laws were not created by you or me. What do you think this was? Local Indian laws or what? That can be changed. Universal laws. Gravity is gravity. Whether a kid jumps out of the window or an idiot like me jumps out of the window, it will be the same. Gravity is not going to say, Bachu, let me suspend myself and bring him down softly. Gravity is gravity. Finished. The universals are like that. This is Ishvara's order. Therefore, what do I do when I get something from Ishvara? The karma phala is coming straight from Ishvara. In our culture, anything that comes from the Lord is taken as prasada. Whether it's a laddu, Tirupati laddu, wow. Whether it is vibhuti, everything is gone. All my effort, everything, what is left is only ashes. Chalo, laga de vibhuti. It's not called ashes. It's called vibhuti. It's the glory of the Lord. Karma phala, put it on. That's it. Acceptance. When you live like this, either you'll fulfill all your priorities and grow out of it, because half a dozen priority that can be fulfilled. You'll mature out. Or certain things you'll give up and you'll mature out. And in that mature mind, in that calm, peaceful mind, you will be able to gain the knowledge, gain that knowledge very well. So that lifestyle of living like this is called karma yoga. Therefore, there is both. Both are meant for gaining the knowledge. Sannyasa lifestyle, if you are ready for it. Karma yoga lifestyle, if you need some growth. Either you take the expressway straight, or you take the scenic route, enjoy, stop to smell the roses on the way. Choice is yours. At the end of it, whether you have lived a life of karma yoga or sannyasa, once the knowledge dawns and it's clear to you, then you will be able to echo with Arjuna. Nashto moha smrutalatva. My delusions are gone. I know who I am now. Therefore, it doesn't matter how I live. What does it matter? Do, don't do, teach, don't teach. Does it really matter? I'm a fulfilled being. For the sake of fulfillment, you don't need anything. Now, out of this fulfillment, you can do. Out of the sense of fulfillment, you can have a family. Out of the sense of fulfillment, you can teach. Out of the sense of fulfillment, you can be a sannyasi. Out of the sense of fulfillment, you can be a warrior. Out of the sense of fulfillment, you can run a business. In fact, sometimes I wonder, is there any other way to live? We all live with a sense of insufficiency. I need this, I need that, I need that. Or you can understand the Gita and live with a sense of fulfillment. Then life becomes one joyous journey. One joyous this. You do what it takes, that's all. You do what has to be done. So I have been speaking for a long time. I have given you in a nutshell what the Gita is about. That's the essence of what the Upanishads is saying. Therefore, Gita, really speaking, is the essence of Vedic wisdom, just like the Upanishads are. And it takes some learning. It takes some learning. You don't become master of the Gita in a 1 day lecture or 1 week's lecture. And remember, when you're reading the Gita, when you're learning the Gita, this is what the learning is about, that you are the limitless, fulfilled being. There are people who say a lot of things about the Gita. Every time I look into the Gita, I see a new meaning. That means you have not yet understood what the Gita is saying. That's all it means. I did that with my students. Gita gives me answers to the questions of life. So I did this experiment with my students. There's no newspaper around, otherwise I would have done it right here. Oh, there is no newspaper. Okay, right here we are doing an experiment. Okay. There is so much of violence and killing and etc. in the world. What is the answer for all? You look into the Gita, you will get an answer. Yeah, you will. Look into your newspaper. Gangster war wanted for Moosewala killing held in USA's Punjab CM. Oh, the rule of law, it works. This is the answer from a newspaper. Okay, I'm reading the Hindu, today's Hindu. You want another one? Open up. Okay. What about this clash between Tamil and Hindi, and they don't want to learn Hindi, this, that, etc.? What about that? Is there any answer to that? Learn Tamil books, fly off the shelves at Kashi stall. So the solution will be what? Understand each other's language. A newspaper is giving me answers. It's something like a newspaper. Of course, Hindu is a good newspaper, but it's a newspaper. That's all. It is not some great book of wisdom. Because what you want to see, you will see. Similarly, you open the book of Gita, you will get some answers. But what is the message of the Gita? That is what you have to see. And the message of the Gita is, you are a fulfilled being. You are that limitless consciousness. Not this finite human being you have taken yourself to be. Until you understand that, your learning is incomplete. It's only when you know that, when you understand it, your learning is complete. And you can live it. So Gita teaches some meditation also to own it up and live it. All that it teaches. So I've been speaking for 50 minutes or so. Time for some question answers. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, shoot. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji, for 45 minutes of throwing light on the Gita. And really, as usual, I've now been listening to you for 17 years, and yet I was quite transfixed even after 17 years to this, something that I've heard you say before, but yet was listening absolutely transfixed. Swamiji, there is a question, but before I ask the audience question, let me ask you a foolish question, but let me ask it anyway. is that how do I know that I know the truth? I mean, is it a light bulb? Is it a switch that one?
Yeah, it's a right question. It's a good question.
It's suddenly a light bulb that comes on and I feel, now I know. I mean, how do I know that I know?
It's a very epistemological question, actually. How do we know what we know? It's important. How do you know this is a pen? There's a certain finality of your perception of knowledge. We say knowledge proves itself. Knowledge proves itself. You don't need to prove knowledge with another knowledge. If you have a doubt, that has to be answered. Okay. So, and in this case, it's even more so in Vedanta. Why? Because I know I am. There is no doubt on that. I am is self-evident to you. Now, Vedanta unfolds what you are. I am is directly known. What I am and clarified is also directly known. You don't need to validate it with something else. If you have doubts, you need to answer the doubts, either by yourself or with the help of a teacher. If you have problems of making it a part of your life, you need to contemplate to make it a part of your life. So two types of doubts can come. Intellectual doubts, doubts thrown up by your mind, which has to be answered with logic and reason, or experiential doubts. I don't feel like that. That has to be wound up in contemplation. How long? Until you're very clear, you know. So if you have a doubt, the Upanishad says, Pavana Punyena Shravanam Kuryat. Meaning, Puna, again and again, listen to the teaching. It'll work. Teaching will take care of it. So keep exposure.
We have one question, Swamiji. I just read out the question. Namaskaram, Pranam. The journey from finiteness to infiniteness starts with a trigger. It kickstarts the process of self-discovery, which includes studying Vedanta and living it. It is a long process, and during that time, how does the seeker know that they are on the right path?
Let your teacher decide whether you are on the right path or not, number one. Find a teacher first. The most important thing is, I have nowadays people asking me all sorts of questions. And I ask them, where do you get these doubts from? He says, no, I'm reading a lot on the social media. And I always tell them, 80% of what is available on social media is not in harmony with the teachings of the Gita. First thing is, have someone whom you can trust as your teacher. Look whether he is a sampradaya with a traditional teacher, not necessarily traditional in terms of, like if people look at me and say, he's not a traditional teacher, right? No vibhuti, no chandan, no kumkum. What to do? The Lord gave me a forehead where none of these things will last more than 15, 20 minutes. It's very oily skin. It goes. That is not what I mean by tradition. Is he postponing it? Or is he saying you are that consciousness right now? So look for a traditional teacher, learn from him. And if you have a sense of Guru-Sishya relationship, then you will be on the right track. Things will work out fine. If you're finding a greater sense of peace in your life, a greater sense of fulfillment, if you think, very often what happens is when you are studying Vedanta, we're looking at the goal. And we say, oh my God, I have so long to go, so long to go. I look down upon myself. The answer to this I found in the books, of course, it is there, but in an old Western song, cowboy movie song. Go west, young man, and go grow with the country. But Americans say they go west because when the pilgrims came, they settled on the east coast. Go west, young man. And then he says, the song goes on to say, eastward the sun climbs slowly, oh how slowly, but westward look, the land is bright. Same way in your life. When you're looking at the goal, oh long process. But look back in your life and you will find you have come a long, long way. Even those who feel, my students who feel, my God, I really have to struggle a lot. Look back, see how much far you have come. Ah, yeah, I'm on the right track. Then, if I've come a long way, I'm on the right track. If I'm wiser today than what I was yesterday, I'm on the right track. Okay, if I feel I've been the same idiot for the last 10 years, maybe you must change your attitude or change your guru. One of the two things. So that's how you know you're on the right track.
There's one more question. It says it's confusing to distinguish between the first person, I, as seen by the mind, versus I as of the self. How does one distinguish between the two?
Yeah. Put it in a simple term. What is self-evident is you. What you need your eyes or your mind to know is not you. Your body, you need your eyes and mind to know. Your mind, you have to look within and know what is happening. Your knowledge, you need your mind. Your ignorance, you need your mind. I am self-evident. I don't need anything. I know I am. Therefore, this is the I. Everything else is not I. Simple.
One last question.
Yeah.
Is Guruji, could you please talk about why one can lose motivation to study along the path, and how can one stay motivated and dedicated to study? How does one keep,
how can one? What the last part?
how can one stay motivated and dedicated to study?
Yeah.
How does one keep the motivation alive and going along the tough path?
First thing, take a good long look at your life and don't delude yourself in saying everything is fine. I have to stay positive. Everything is fine when things are not fine. Be aware of your existential issues, isolation, loneliness, purposelessness, etc. Take a good long educate yourself and see what you can become. Fulfill being free from all this. In fact, that's what you are. You're not becoming that. So if you keep that goal in view, and in the Gita, you will find 2-3 places. The goal is painted very brilliantly. Sita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha, 2nd chapter. Arjuna asking, who's a Sita Prajna? And Krishna and Apuryamanam, Machala Pratishtam, etc. Similarly, use Gunadita. Like that, there are a few places where the goal is painted. So keep the goal in mind. Take a good hard look at yourself and see what is not very correct. And saying the goal is nothing but what my true self is. Therefore, the journey from finiteness to infinite is actually the journey from me to myself. To me, what I've taken myself to be, to myself, what I am. Make it a practice to attend 1 class a week regularly. Whatever happens, 1 class a week, I'll be there. And preferably the same class. I can attend more classes if I have the time, but 1 class is your main class, you will stick to that. Let it be a part of your life, then it will work very well. Many of my students are definitely getting it for themselves. Some of them are even capable of becoming teachers just because of this. Next one, Salesh.
Yeah. One last question. Is Gita a good starting point for study of Vedanta, or should one start with some other text?
Gita is a good text to start because it takes your lifestyle into account and helps you live a normal life. Gita is a good text to start. Now, there are people who will teach certain prakarana grantha like Tattva Bodha, etc., which is good to understand definitions of the mind, definitions of the body, which is good. You can do that as well. But Gita is, I found from close to 40 years of teaching that I've been doing, that Gita is a good place to start for people.
Thank you, Swamiji, for a wonderful 1 hour engrossing and really 1 hour that has kept us rooted to our seat, our roots, and on our path to knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here.